give us like a practical example. That's like, what would you differently if you were starting, or maybe not restarting, but like, I don't know, 5, 10 years into your data career in today's Martech Gen AI landscape? What's one thing you encourage folks listening to be doing in terms of like taking this seriously?
When I graduated from college in the 90s, I had no interest in the business world. I had none. I could do math in my head. I got hired as a consultant and I ended up writing SQL code all day because I could do math. But I wasn't interested in the global economy. I didn't know the first thing about business. And so I started out, I was working in financial services. I started by reading The American Banker every day, which is pretty dry. And if you're not working in financial services, don't do it. Can't recommend it. But but I just started out by giving myself a little bit of a diet of something that wasn't interesting to me. It certainly wasn't interesting the way that Saturday morning cartoons were interesting to me when I was a teenager, um, or other things, right? But give yourself a little bit of a diet, or subscribe to a newsletter or a podcast or whatever. Listen to people who are like doing this for a living. I mean, it's actually way easier today to get a little bit of a taste here and there. Find something or two or three things that you're kind of interested in, and then give yourself a month or two. Don't set your target to be an expert, but like give yourself a personal assignment to learn about that thing. You don't know what a RAG is? Figure out what a RAG is. What's the difference between a RAG and an LLM? Figure that out. You don't have to do that, but is set yourself start by just giving yourself a diet of something that maybe isn't that interesting to you, but like you feel like is somewhat relevant, you know? And then get a little bit of exposure, figure out maybe there's some part of it you think is interesting, and then go from there and then start to explore. And what you'll find, or what I found for myself, is that the things that you initially start with are not the things that you're gonna end up you're gonna end up discovering something that you didn't know
Mm.
existed. And that's gonna be really interesting to you. And then you can like lean into that and maybe it'll shape the direction of your career if you're starting out, or frankly, even if you're not, even if you've been doing this for a while, you may discover something. I'm no longer executive in multi-billion dollar enterprises. Now I'm a co-founder in a small, data tech, Martech, you know, AI company, right? Um, and that's exciting, right? But not everybody is into that. But I think if you are interested, don't try to, take it all in all at once. Find a couple of things. Start doing some general research, subscribe to some things, listen to people, find people that you're interested in the way that they talk, the way they present things. This is a good one. Um, but find people that you're interested in and learn from them, and then branch out from there and give yourself a little bit of, targets. Hey, by the end of the summer, I want to know what this thing is. I want to understand that generally. And if you do that for a little bit, you'll find some things that you didn't know existed that are really, really fascinating and are part of the emerging economy.
Mhm. That's such great advice. Like the rabbit hole discoveries of self-paced learning. Anyone who's curious about something has gone down that path, whether it's like on YouTube or some blog somewhere and you discover new terms.
I've got two kids, right? One is a 4-year-old and she's a corona baby and she's amazing and I love every second of it. But I've also got a son who is 20. He just finished his sophomore year in college. And, it's kids go off to college these days and they think they have to know their major and what their career is going to be before they even get there. And I've had to explain to my son, like, hey, take it easy. College is actually not about, I mean, it is about learning, but it's actually more about learning about yourself,
Mhm.
right? Try lots of things and discover what gets you excited, right? And then let that guide you in your next decision. And then get your degree. And when you're done, the people are going to hire you. Don't care if you got a degree in, you know, Spanish literature or art history or microeconomics. They don't care. They care that you're an interesting human who is interested in the work, and they want to interact with you, and you've a demonstrated history of setting targets for yourself and achieving them. Getting a college degree is that. right? So don't worry about being all over focused. And the point that I'm trying to make, to connect it back to the point we were just making, is by learning about all these things, yes, you're learning those things, but you're really learning about what makes you tick. And that's something that all of us, none of us are too old to do that. We all do that forever, or you can stop anytime you like, but then you just sort of, you're on pause for the rest of your life. Who wants that? Right? So continue to learn, continue to push, continue to ask questions, continue to find answers. And when you find those answers, it's about truth in the world, but it's also about truth inside of who you are.